is we have this green moving average right here. That's the 800 moving average. We obviously had a major drop right here. This was during FOMC news. So market crash, which means when the bigger the crash, the more likely it's going to make a lower high and continue to break down. So we have this major crash right here. It started to push up a little bit, and then it threw us this major 30-minute engulfing candle to the downside. So this is exactly what I did here after this candle closed. And I actually was in this a little bit earlier than the candle close. Right there, I put my stop loss just barely above that wick right there. And this one played around a little bit, but it still played out exactly how it was supposed to. So we had this big, huge crash to the
Mhm.
downside. We came up, made a lower high in here. I bet if we look left, if I'm correct, I think we have a break of structure. Yo, so we look left, we draw that area of resistance. You see how price was rejecting this area and flew off of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an area of support right in here. So as it breaks this area of support, what we're looking for is a retest of that area. And then we're looking for our candle pattern, which is the engulfing, right? So I actually sold this one just a little bit earlier than the candle close. And then my take profit was right at this wick low here. And this is how this one played out. So started off really nicely, and then it eventually did what it was supposed to do. And more.
Yeah.
Now you could have had two entries on this one, and I'm gonna show you how.
I was actually about to ask you that. So like let's say you're analyzing the charts again. How would you go about that? But basically you're about to
Yep,
do the
yep.
same. Yeah.
So on this one, obviously played out, but let's say you miss this area right here. You don't get in that trade. Now what we have here is we have that same thing. We have the push up into a lower high here, and then we have that engulfing candle to the downside right here. So you see that? We have the engulfing candle that closed below this previous green candle. What you can do there, take a short, put your stop loss just a little bit above that. Now for this one, when market comes to this area, and I'm going to teach you this next time. When market comes down to this area, because it's such a strong area of support, I'm going to throw my stop loss and profit and protect my trade. It's not as great of an entry, obviously, as this one, but I mean, if we look at it, it plays out the same way. The huge thing there is, oh, you see that? Did a break of structure and then retested as well, right here. But the huge thing I look for on these is the lower high, the engulfing to the downside, and then I obviously want to have I want to know that the market's going to drop based on the higher time frames, or maybe I'm assuming that it is going to drop there. And this one was pretty easy just based on the huge market crash right there. And then it threw us very bearish candles. So as soon as that
Yeah.
closes, I'm in that trade. And this one was another 1 to 3, super good. So those were my two trades. Well, this one, and this was only a 1 to 2 for me this week.
Yeah.
But that, oh, it was actually a little bit higher because I entered right there. So I think it was actually better than that 1 to 2. It's like a 1 to 2.5, which is great. As long as you're above a 1 to 1, I'm happy. I would like to see a 1 to 2 at least, but you can do the 1 to 1s. So that was those two trades. And like I said, you could have entered two times based on what was going on our chart. Could have easily
Hmm.
done that. So that's
Like put two trades in the
if
same trade?
I wouldn't, but if
Oh.
you missed the trade, let's say you missed this one, right? The first trade. Well, you could have got
Mhm.
another trade after that based on that
Okay.
engulfing candle. So like let's say you just weren't on the charts during that time. Well, when this happens, you can do the same concept.
Mhm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Maybe you don't want to scalp. Same exact concept. So this is the 4-hour time frame on GBP NZD. Same concept. So I'm going to draw my support line. You see how price rejected here? Rejected here. So now I use that as my support line. So once we break this area and close above it, like we clearly closed above that area right here. Now what I want to look for is that break of structure and then the retest of structure and then my engulfing candle again. So we have that 4-hour engulfing candle right off that 50 and the thing just took off. So that's the exact concept I use on the 1 minute, but this one happened to be on that 4-hour. So this would have been a trade where you were in, let's see here, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, 20 hours, 24, 28, 32, 36. So a day and a half you would be in that trade. But
Oh, wow.
that would have been a very huge trade. That was 218 pips, which is a good, in a day and a half is very good. And obviously you could have held it longer, but I use that area of structure as my take profit areas.
Like right above or right at the wick.
Yep, yep, yep. Pretty much, yeah. Exactly.
So right here, since we're going to the upside, you would be looking like higher highs and higher lows, right?
Yep, yep. So we have a higher low right here. So we have a higher low. I'm just gonna do HL for higher lows.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. We have a higher low right here. But the other confluences are we have we have resistance. We finally broke that resistance. Now we're gonna retest that resistance, which is gonna turn it into a support. And the higher low right there is gonna kind of tell us that, hey, the higher low with that engulfing candle is gonna keep pushing up. Plus, we had the 50 moving average with us as well. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
exact concept that I use every go round, every trade that I'm taking right now. Instead of what I used to do, where I would sell the highs and I would buy the lows, I don't do that anymore. And the reason is because my win rate went up so much by me not taking those higher highs and those lower low trades. I want to wait for the pullback into a continuation. That makes sense?
The retest,
Yeah,
right? The
exactly.
break.
So we got our higher high here. The higher high is turning into that higher low. And then that's what I want to be searching for. I want to see the higher low on an area of structure. And then this one even better. We got that 50 moving average with us. We got the engulfing to the upside, and it played out just beautifully.